Ted Cruz claims the Bible commands Christians to defend the nation of Israel. No.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who...
All will serve me in death.
Picture this. It's the year 2052. You just posted an honest review about a product.
The US has wrecked Iran with the bunker busters. Everybody's talking about it, which makes me wonder, how would they work in the event of a war with China?
Initializing descent.
Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Well, it's happened. The United States has bombed Iran. I feel a little like Han when he was taken out of the carbonite. I'm out of it for a little while and everyone starts World War III. And yes, I just made an OG Star Wars reference. You can't ruin my childhood, Disney. I'm taking it back. Real quick, last episode I mentioned YouTube is secretly unsubscribing people. And I know that sounds unbelievable, but check out the responses I got. ShadowWolf13 says, oh, I was actually unsubscribed. I was definitely still subbed last week. DustFart466 says, I was unsubscribed, but I subscribed again. And Thornsink says, I've subscribed 3 times this month alone. So double check that you're still subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, now's the time. And don't forget to leave a honeypot emoji in the comments below to show YouTube we know they've got their sticky little fingers in China's honeypot. And now, back to the US bombing of Iran and why it has China very nervous. The bombs that the US used on Iran were the 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, aka the bunker busters everybody's talking about now. They're the heaviest non-nuclear bombs the US possesses. Reportedly, 7 US Air Force stealth bombers dropped 14 of these bunker buster bombs on Iran. These bad boys are designed to penetrate deep into tightly fortified underground facilities before exploding. Saying out loud, I'm realizing how much military lingo sounds like innuendo. Honestly, all of geopolitics boils down to a dick measuring contest. That's, I assume, why Harris lost. But it would seem that America's big throbbing bombs did their job admirably against Iran's nuclear facilities.
These before and after photos show the impact of the US strikes on Iran. A CNN analysis found Iran's Fordo nuclear facility had been left with at least 6 large craters, pointing to the use of bunker-busting bombs by the US military. This site, the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center, which is believed to be at the center of Iran's nuclear program, was visibly blackened by the degree of rubble the strikes left in their wake.
I like my mahi-mahi like I like my Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities. Blackened. And with a little bit of lemon. These bunker buster bombs have never been used in actual combat until now, and there might be a reason that President Trump decided to use them now. The reason is, you guessed it, China. Just like dropping nuclear bombs on Japan during World War II also showed the Soviet Union what America was capable of. Don't mess with America. We are crazy. Bombing Iran has given the Chinese Communist Party plenty to think about, while also potentially taking out one of the smaller Axis powers prior to World War III. So let this be a warning to you Morlocks, best not step out of line. And China is definitely taking notice. China is very, very well aware of the threat that American bunker busters pose, especially after seeing how weaker versions of the bunker buster utterly devastated Saddam Hussein's Iraq. Remember Saddam Hussein? If not, that's the point. That's why China has invested heavily into fortifying its most important assets, ramping up its construction of bunkers and underground facilities, and adding many, many missiles and defense systems. Though China should really consider China-proofing their infrastructure first. The Hudson Institute, a think tank promoting quote-unquote American leadership for a secure, free, and prosperous future, reports that since the early 2010s, the PLA has more than doubled its hardened aircraft shelters and unhardened individual aircraft shelters at military airfields. In fact, the think tank calculates that the amount of concrete used by China to improve the resilience of its airbase network could pave a 4-lane interstate highway from Washington, D.C. to Chicago. Though if you've ever dealt with D.C. or Chicago traffic, you know that isn't nearly enough lanes. But the U.S. only has so many bunker busters. So what might the U.S. target? One potential target is Yulin Naval Base, China's $50 billion military stronghold in the South China Sea. It's a strategic hub for the PLA Navy's South Sea Fleet and features an underground complex designed to shield nuclear submarines from aerial surveillance and potential attack. This is China's only ballistic missile submarine base, and it's essential for China's nuclear deterrence. Destroying that could deal a major blow to China's ability to project power. It'd make China look weak, incompetent, and downright ridiculous, which has basically been my game plan for the last 13 years. It's also possible the US would target China's nuclear bunker for its top leaders, which is reportedly located under the Xishan, or Western Hills National Forest Park, showing that the CCP isn't afraid to use civilians as protection for their top brass, in addition to other deterrents. The Xishan complex is part of the Central Military Commission's Joint Battle Command Center, meant to withstand a nuclear fallout. It's built within the world's most deeply buried limestone karst caves that extend more than 1.2 miles underground. It's more underground than that indie rock album I made back in college. There's also China's massive new military command center, which is slated to be 10 times the size of the US's Pentagon. So what, it'll have 50 sides? Among its standout features are deep pits that analysts believe could house hardened bunkers to shelter China's leadership. But it's not as simple as just swooping in with a bunch of bombers and dropping bunker busters on the CCP. Oh, how I wish it were. Bombs only work if they're dropped with precision from the correct height, which means the bombers can't be busy dodging anti-aircraft weapons while they're lining up their shots. In Iran, the US attack was only possible because of what Israel did first to take out Iran's defense systems, including missiles, attacks from fighter jets, and strikes from drones smuggled into Iran by Mossad special forces. For the US to be as successful with China, there would need to first be an assault on China's air and sea missile defense systems. I don't think Israel will do that. But why do you think Trump was getting close with Kim? Secret MAGA alliance. But remember, even the Iran attack wasn't all bunker busters. During a press conference reporting on the Iran attack, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General Dan Kane, said the operation used more than 125 aircraft. This includes more than just the B-2 bombers. Multiple 4th and 5th generation fighters, dozens of air refueling tankers, and a full array of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft were involved. There were also plenty of other weapons. Kane reported that the U.S. launched approximately 75 precision-guided munitions, including 30 submarine-launched Tomahawk cruise missiles. It was the most lethal combination of land, sea, and air, outside of McDonald's secret menu, land, sea, and air burger. It takes a lot of weapons to make absolutely sure that underground facilities really come crumbling down. Of course, like with Iran, there's also fears about how China would retaliate. I've talked a lot on this channel about how China could weaponize its dominance in global logistics and supply chain